Hi, it's me, Chicken Bone John, here again, talking about Harmony Stellar guitars. You may have seen another little video which I did about Harmony Stellas. This is about the earlier ones. Most of the ones you will see if you're fishing around on eBay will be 1950s, 60s and 70s. They all look very similar, but I've got a couple of examples here which are earlier than that. Here is that familiar thing, familiar shape, all birch body, but this is 1939. It's a Harmony slotted headstock. You can just about see where it's been embossed on the top. The gold lettering's actually worn off. But this is a Harmony Stella. It's actually got a little label inside and it's stamped 39. So this is a lot earlier than most of the ones that you will find. It's essentially the same guitar. Few differences. They're all built a little bit lighter. There's no binding on it. It's the same painted effect. It's solid birch. As I say, the headstock is slotted with these 3 on a plate square cut tuners. I think these were originally supplied by Clusen. It's actually got inlaid dots, unlike the sprayed on ones of the later ones. Small frets. This one looks, I think this has been replaced in nickel silver because I think originally they were brass. It's got a printed sound hole rosette. This is a non-original scratch plate. You can see there's some glue. Somebody's done something nasty to this in the past. So I've done sort of, there's a difficult one to do as to whether to do a long pattern one or do something similar to the more modern ones. So it's ended up with a repro. New bridge, cut in ebony, just like the old one. And these what they call idento tailpieces. It's got a little panel in here which has been inset with a piece of matching pickguard material. You can actually put your own name in. I call it idento, sorry, not indento, idento. So that's it. Pretty much the same guitar. The one main difference is the necks didn't have any reinforcement, and they have got this nice V section. Some people don't like these V section necks. I rather do. Out of tune and horrible play, but they've got quite a bit more punch than the sort of later ones. Just for comparison, here's a 1950s one done in this sort of this ivory burst. You can see it's pretty much the same guitar. There's another little, so apart from, you know, it's got that classic headstock, not slotted. One other little feature, if you're not sure, the end of the fretboard was always cut. You generally cut at a slope. It's a funny little identifying feature. So if you've got one that sort of looks like that, but you're getting that sunburst tiger stripe effect, it might be an early one. Now here's another. This hasn't got a name on it, but I know exactly what it is. This is a 37 Harmony, exactly the same body shape, exactly the same headstock with a square cut, very sharp edged, clean edged, the same square edged 3 on a plate tuners. That one, this one had got them in cream. This one's got them in black, but the same thing. And this fantastic finish, this Duco frosted, which you normally only see on the national steel guitars. So whether there's some crossover there happening between Harmony and I believe K made bodies for National back in the 30s. So this is different because it's got a pin bridge. Same sort of thing. You can see the end of the fretboard sloping away, and nice little guitars. This one, the action's a wee bit high, and because of this finish, I'm very hesitant to actually pull the neck. not incredibly high, but I do not want to spoil this fantastic finish by having to get the fretboard off here and steam it out. So I'm leaving it well alone. Perfectly playable down here, and even this is a more mellower sound to that. I think probably because it's got this the pin bridge. Strings are a bit more worn on this, but that's quite a snappy sounding guitar. But there you are. That's the pre-war Harmony Stellas guitars. Make no mistake, these are made by the Harmony company. Some of these are the very first instruments they made. They're not the Oscar Schmidt guitars, which were made just prior to that. So these are amongst the very first, I believe, Harmony guitars made. So they will not command the same price as the Oscar Schmidt, but they are still very nice guitars, cut above your 1950s and 60s Harmonies. As I say, the one that it looks with the tailpiece and so forth, you sometimes get these also with a wooden tailpiece. And the ones like this with the V-neck, they're the nicest of those 929, 927, 928 models. So worth paying a premium. How much are they worth? As much as you're prepared to pay. I think some of the later ones begin to go for silly prices. For the same money, you can get a nice modern guitar. You know, these things, I do like them. They're great fun guitars, and I've done dozens, if not hundreds of these have come through my workshop. Virtually 95% of them, I bet I've probably had 4 that I haven't had to take the neck out and reset. Simple things like loose braces and split seams are very common on them, but most of them do need some work to get them playable. So if you get one of these and it needs a neck set, you've got to ask yourself, is it really worth the money? You know, it's not a 1930s, it's not being played by one of the old bluesmen, it was an old catalogue guitar. The original Oscar Schmidt guitars, again, they were a budget guitar, simply made. They tend to be nice materials, but rather simply made. Some were very crudely made, just pretty much the same as that. I'm actually working on one at the moment. It's not together, but I will show you it. Just finishing off having having the bridge re-glued. I can take the clamp off now because that's been in there for a couple of days. Now, here we go. And here's the neck ready to go back in. So this is an Oscar Schmidt one. See, it's a slightly different headstock. You see, it's flared out from the nut. Oops. Whereas the Harmony one is more parallel-sided. This is more like the style of the National guitars. Same sort of tuners, although these are the really old ones where they're reverse mounted with the you see it with the button below the capstan of the machine head. Again, V-neck. You can see the nice V-neck profile in here, traditional dovetail joint. I think this has probably been refretted, and it's a close call whether I actually do refret this. It's just a stained hardwood fretboard. Here's the body, slightly different shape, a little bit more pinched little pinch waist and fuller, but again, same construction. It's all birch, no bindings on this. So it's very nice. Yeah, a lot of these have these transfers. This is a Galiano. If you can see the label in there, it's a Galiano. But Galiano, I think there were several people. Apparently, was it D'Acquisto or D'Angelico worked for them. But they were all made, I think, under the equivalent to a Stella. I think they actually all were sold by Oscar Schmidt. Glued on hardwood bridge, ebonized. Again, ladder brace like all these others. It's all a bit, everything's lighter. So I've not had this together yet, but this is a different thing altogether. I say this is an Oscar Schmidt Stella, and if you can pick one of these up cheap, you're doing well. But remember, if you get a cheap one, it'll probably need a lot of work. It'll certainly need the neck taking out of it. This one it wasn't too bad. It's had a few small cracks that have needed cleating, a couple of loose open seams, and a loose brace. So it wasn't too bad. Some of these are in terrible shape. You know, good ones, you're into the £1,000, £1,000 territory. The 12 strings, the lead belly type guitars, barbecue bob 12 strings, they're worth a lot of money. Whereas the Harmony Stellas, from only a few years later, they are a nice guitar, but don't command such high prices. So I think a lot of people do get confused between a proper original Stella, which some of the old bluesmen did used to play, and the more later Harmony Stellas. Without a doubt, some of those people did play them. People like Mance Lipscomb used to play a Harmony Sovereign, and so forth, and also the later Harmony Stella 12 strings. But as I say, it's an interesting timeline, and I think a lot of people think they're buying a 1970s Stella and they're getting this sort of quality and sound. You're not. I'll just try and put those back safe. These things are very nice. Tuners on these have seen a lot of action, so there's a huge amount of slop in these tuners, so you have to be very careful. I can wind that through virtually a full half turn, and there's slack in it. They still work, but they do tend to rattle. So, and the other thing with guitars is when you tune them, any guitar, always tune up to pitch. That way, all the parts of the mechanism are working. Their intention. If you tune down, the first third of a turn on this, it's not done anything. That's just taking up the slack. It's just beginning to engage the gears now. As I turn it up, if you can see my hands moving, I'm going through, I can feel a quarter turn, a third turn. It's a third of a turn before the gears have engaged. And you can hear this, one of these tuners is rattling. I might actually have to put a spot of Vaseline or something just to lubricate them and damp the rattle a bit. Totally usable little guitar. This one will probably be for sale if you want to make me a proper offer, not silly money offer. But having said that, Some of the latest Harmony Stellas I've seen going for £300, which in my opinion, this day and age, 2012, is rather a lot of money. I'd be quite happy if you paid me £300 for a modern Stella, not modern, 50s, 70s one, but I don't think I would ask that much. This, rather like a bit more for it, and something like this, which is a nice guitar of itself with this unusual finish. I've only ever seen one other of these, and I've had that, and I sold that on to somebody, and apparently, I think Eric Bibb saw it, wanted it, but the chap who I sold it to wouldn't let him have it. They are a lovely, they are a nice guitar. That's enough from me. Bye for now.